So,
All right, let me share my screen here. And hopefully everybody can see my screen. Yes.
yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay. This is Bob Murphy with Datamark. Bob is the Director of Business Development for Public Safety GIS at Datamark, part of Michael Baker International. He states that he is honored to work with some of the best public safety professionals in the industry, dedicated public safety leader, bringing innovation technology and best practices to enhance emergency response. And he's going to talk to us about employing TDI to accelerate public safety GIS. Take it away, Bob.
Thank you very much. All right, so as Dan said, my name is Robert Murphy, and I have the pleasure of leading the business development team here at Datamark. You know, a little bit more about me, you know, so I get to follow Deb, right? And that's anytime you follow Deb in a presentation, you have to kind of sort of reset yourself and humble yourself, as Deb is certainly one of the most respected professionals in the industry. And I've been in public safety for 20 years. I'm not a GIS professional by trade. By any sense of imagination, I spent 22 years as a first responder and 15 years in the PSAP, formerly as a 911 communications chief for Okaloosa County, Florida, prior to joining the Datamark team. But you know, one thing that I learned along the way, and I think a lot of the group that's here, probably in attendance of this conference and this presentation, is those folks who are responsible for addressing. And I had the opportunity to manage our admin team in Okaloosa County. So I understand some of the challenges that each of you have to deal with each day when you're talking about addressing and then GIS data management from that perspective. But you know, Datamark is really, we are solely focused. We're a public safety division within Michael Baker International. And for those that are not aware, Michael Baker International is a very large engineering architectural consulting firm. And we've been around more than 80 years. But we introduce some visionary leadership and really try and apply that transformational change so that we can help our clients make a difference. And the Datamark team specifically, you know, I think we're north of 60, almost 70 folks on our team right now. And those 70 folks specifically focus on NG911 public safety GIS data management. You know, we work with and want to meet our customers where they are. So we're going to support them in a legacy 911 addressing perspective, and then help them transition to NG911. And really, what we're really proud about is the way we cultivate relationships between the larger stakeholder community. So the addressing folks, the GIS folks, the public safety folks, and then the end users. We like to bring those all together because, you know, when we do that through education, through advocacy, and then what we're here to talk a little bit about today is how do we leverage innovation and technology to take us to the next step. And those have been our founding principles for a number of years, because you know one of our catchphrases is, because when seconds matter to you, your data matters to us. And so we want to partner with our customers to get them where they need to be to solve those challenges. So what I want to talk a little bit about is really two different spheres of how we approach technology to meet our customer needs. And it's really on the left-hand side of the screen. We center our portfolio around what we refer to as Datamark VEP, and I'll talk a little bit about and show you a couple of screenshots of what that looks like. But VEP is a fully cloud-native solution that was built to serve our customer needs. And there's a whole lot of moving parts about how we've used technology, differentiation, and innovation to expand the capability to meet our customers and to solve some of the challenges that they have and help them move forward. But equally important to any of the portfolio are our customers and are the user experience with not only our solutions and our offerings, but also the overall partnership, that what it means when you start working with Datamark. So we use this 360-degree client experience, and what that client experience means is that the customer and the client is the center of the project, regardless of where we're at. And that we may need to reach into different components of our team to ensure they're getting the right resources or the right expertise to solve that. So as a customer, you have access to every pillar of our organization, and there really are no thresholds that prevent you from getting what you need. I'll talk a little about, again, the technology enablement that we've experienced. And I'll start just a kind of a back on a road trip of really back to 2015. Is that Michael Baker has a long history of geospatial and addressing projects. So we've been doing this for a long time. We are one of the first to develop and deliver some real-time field-driven GPS and broadband projects across the country. And we've been doing a lot of stuff with geospatial technologies for a number of years. And while we're really proud of where we came from, we're really proud of where we have grown to and how we continue to grow so we can better serve our customers. And so starting in 2015, we began offering an on-prem solution, and it was really focused to meet the needs of the addressing and geospatial needs at our localities. So we developed and delivered a solution called DM, E, and DX. And that solution was really built to manage addresses and provide some best practice validations to make sure the data quality was consistent with those standards and best practices. But like many solutions in 2015, we recognized that that on-prem solution that was deployed was going to require a bit of work and some investment from not only our company, but also the customers' capital expenditures to maintain servers and applications and so on and so forth. So, we started to look to see how can we expand that process so that we make it more cost effective and efficient for their operation. So that led us really to where we started to evolve the solutions in 2016. Also, notably in 2016, we started to ramp up and accelerate some of our indoor mapping solutions. But this was not seen on the public safety sector, really more so on the private sector. So we took a real heads forward approach into indoor mapping in markets like transportation, aviation, and hazard mitigation. And while we've heard a lot this week, and we've heard a lot really the last few months in the new buzz about indoor mapping, we've been doing this for a while, and we started to understand and go back to our teams and figure out how can we move that forward, because we've done it for large aviation institutions like Dallas Fort Worth Airport, Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson, two of the largest airports in our country. And how do we start moving that forward to support some of these larger market segments? And that moved us and leaned us forward into 2017, where we recognized that public safety and addressing GIS, their needs began to change because we saw that rapid acceleration of next generation 911. Something that those of us who have been around for a while have heard was coming, but certainly backed by millions of dollars from the federal government, we began to see that rapid landscape change. So that's when we really engaged our partners with AWS and ESRI to change that and bring evolution. And we'll kind of refer to as that was our digital transformation here. And that's where we began to experience the idea we're talking about today is technology differentiation, innovation, so that we can meet our customers where they are, because we knew we couldn't box them into a solution, a one-size-fits-all solution. Moving forward, cascading, this is what I'm really excited to talk about, is when we stepped into the world of TDI and we went all in on that cloud native approach. In 2018, we launched Datamark VEP. And Datamark VEP is a cloud native solution, which means it is built for and lives in and works in the cloud. And that solution allowed us to really leverage the power, resilience, security, and reliability of cloud computing. Couple that with a real-time and true integration with ESRI, but also an agnostic approach to serve our clients who are not ESRI users, those who may be using the old map info or QGIS. We really wanted to enable them to be successful. The end goal was to create an intuitive solution so that literally anyone can use it, regardless of expertise from a GIS user perspective. And within months of our deployment, our customers began to say things to us like, if we can only do this, the result we would get would be that. So we heard that, and that left us, as we transformed into 2019, to shift our mindset to be more of an agile organization. An agile organization means we have to be ready to pivot and meet the demands of our users. So a few short months later, we released what we refer to as multi-jurisdictional collaboration. And what multi-jurisdictional collaboration allows us to do is allow our neighbors at the local level to collaborate candidly with their neighbors so that they can resolve gaps and overlaps, create snap to points, so that we can eliminate any gaps or overlaps of those borders. It really started to build that localized data set so that we can start sharing data. In public safety, we talk about disaster recovery. And this was kind of the first step for us to say, should you have to resolve those discrepancies at a larger regional or statewide deployment, or would you rather have that collaboration at the local level? And so that was the reason that we released and developed multi-jurisdictional collaboration. So what that really meant was no more sending the data off and having somebody else run the QC on it and waiting for a report to come back, or scheduling meetings with your neighbors 3 months out down the road to identify and resolve a boundary issue, but to put the power in your hands and to leverage technology to roll that out. Also in 2019, we released our observer rule to VEP. And what observer allowed us to do was put the power of VEP in the hands of the other stakeholders that are using our data on a day-to-day basis. So folks like our fire inspectors, dispatchers, land development personnel, it could be property appraisers, tax collectors, where they're looking at the data in ways that we potentially are not looking at data, and they can give us real-time feedback to that. So Observer was that functionality rolled out in 2019. We've seen an overwhelming response to that. It's a great way to put tools, again, in ancillary users' hands so they can provide that feedback to us. As we continue to move down the timeline of evolution, in 2020, we responded again to what the market and customers were telling us, was that they need the ability to collect, validate, and aggregate the data to support county, regional, or even statewide needs. But they wanted to do it when they needed to do it and on a frequency that they needed to meet their demand. So what it meant was no more sending the data off, again, having it submitted through a portal, or having that data have to be manually merged. It gave you an opportunity to get your data within hours or minutes of when you needed it. It really supports the disaster recovery model from a PSAP perspective, and a data sharing component that, in the event I need to pull down somebody else's data, I can do that through that aggregator function. But I don't necessarily need to maintain all the data at one time. But we wanted to speed that process up and provide the tools to our customers to be able to, again, build that aggregated data set and access it when they need it. So we really took the philosophy that it's your data, and you should be able to run it and aggregate it and collect it and share it when you need to do that. So we fast forward that over to 2021, where we again we responded to what the customers were telling us, and it was understanding that in an NG transition, you're going to have to maintain things like your MSAG for quite some time. Nobody really can tell you how long that's going to be. But transitioning over meant you had to maintain or build your high quality GIS data, but also maintain some of those legacy things like the MSAG to support all those different functions, specifically the LVF function. So we wanted to leverage that, again, leverage technology, and we brought to you MSAG Generator. And the thought process behind that was, you spent a lot of time, effort, and money on your data. Why not use the data to inform your MSAG? So MSAG Generator allows the users to build a geospatial MSAG file or create a tabular file to maintain the MSAG, and also have the ability to then take that tabular file and then build a delta change file to support an update to your MSAG provider. Now, not everybody in the PSAP world is managing their MSAG on their own. Sometimes they're contracting with other vendors to do that. And getting those batch changes done are sometimes cumbersome. So MSAG Generator allows them to not only build that MSAG, geospatial MSAG, but also an easy workflow to get that delta change file back out. And then continuing on with those innovations, was 2021 was we focused on some data governance. We know it continues to be important, so we developed those solutions so that one county, region, or state can collaborate in one solution. And this led us to what we refer to as geofencing. And so geofencing was released so that you can solve a data supply chain issue, yet protect the jurisdictional data governance. So through geofencing, your addressing agencies, your local GIS users can all manage their data in a seamless deployment. I apologize for that. In a seamless deployment. And I'll show you a quick example of what that looks like here on the next slide.
I hate when that happens.
I thought I had them all quiet. I got one rogue. My apologies for that, folks. So I'll show you an example of the geofencing module on the next slide. But speaking of data sharing, we then realized that data hosting was becoming more and more popular. And I think you heard others say across the week, the ability to share data was more important now than ever. So we wanted to enable our customers to share data or ingest data from various sources. So data hosting was rolled out, and that allowed us to share your data in a very secure and highly available manner, so that again, those who need it and they need it the most have access to it. So 2022, we're off to a fiery start in 2022. We continue to leverage that TDI and those innovative solutions to support those needs. And with the release of VEP Verify, our users now have the power of VEP in their hands, and it can take it from their hands to the field. So available from the Google or Apple App Store, VEP Verify now places the power of VEP literally in the palm of your hands, downloadable on a cell phone, a tablet, or other handheld device. And what it does is enable those additional users to take the device in the field, mark an observation, make a data change that reports back to the data that's hosted within VEP. And again, building on the idea that it's your data. We want you to have access to it anywhere. So if you tuned in earlier this week, you heard Jeff Ledbetter and some of our partners at CRG talk about the tactical mapping, the solutions that we're offering. And that's kind of the idea, right? Is it's not just going to be the folks behind the desk that are leveraging this stuff. So, we wanted to take really, again, look at this thing. How can we leverage technology? How can we innovate our processes so that we can move these processes forward? So we're really excited about where we're heading. And then from an innovation perspective, we're really proud to announce, and if you follow us on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram or any of the social media accounts, you've seen that we just made a public announcement that we're releasing Cloud Assign. This is yet another example of digital transformation and innovative solutions. But this is now leveraging cloud-enabled computing for address management. And what Cloud Assign is going to do is it'll bring the capabilities of VEP, but it's designed specifically for those managing addresses. So you'll have the capability to not only manage your addresses in a cloud solution, but then share them with those other key stakeholders like public safety, planning, land development. It'll have the ability to be incorporated into many solutions. So if there's permitting systems, we can support those as well. Because what we don't believe is that a one-size-fits-all approach is appropriate. I think if you learn and you talk to your colleagues across the country, across the city, is that everybody's a little bit different. So we have unique needs, and that's where we can leverage cloud computing and technology to bring those innovative solutions to meet everybody's needs. And we have to really tailor to get them where they want to go. So here's just an example of our VEP solution. I don't have time to go through a full-on demo in just a few minutes, but again, it's a cloud-native solution. Dashboards customizable, uploads, unlimited validations. You can run the validations on demand. Folks have access to a map. Within our map, they can see their data. We run and build a fishbone analysis so that folks who are managing data can easily see if you have an address point that's out of order, or a centerline segment that is wrong, a boundary that doesn't have topology. It'll flag all that red so that you can get a visual representation of what's happening with your data. And then the dashboard that's available to them as they run validations, and specific validations or individual validations, they can see their change over time. So what we should see is the percentage of anomalies going down, and we should see more green. So those, this is again just a screenshot of our VEP solution. And VEP comes in 3 different offerings for us right now. It's our validator, editor, or aggregator. Each have their own unique deployment model. So if you're a very robust GIS shop and you simply need a tool to run validations, validator is probably the fit for you. If you're a less robust entity, and maybe you don't have access to some GIS management, data management solutions, editor provides the functionality to run all the validations, but also gives you that web map interface to not only create, but maintain or change really any of your GIS data, from address points to center lines to boundary layers. It has a native addressing tool for row center line segment and address point placement tools. And then aggregator is really designed for those regional or statewide deployments. So we've got a couple large regional deployments and statewide deployments that we use aggregator, and it's twofold. It's, again, it allows us to collect the data up to build that statewide regional data set, but also provides the on-demand functionality for our customers to reach into the aggregator and pull down the specific data sets that they need when they need it. I want to just showcase really 2 different, I think, really cool things that we're proud about. Is that's our geofencing on the left-hand side, and really what that represents. When you look at that overall screen capture, there is one county inside one instance of our VEP solution, and then on the green polygon is one area that's geofenced. So that's one jurisdiction has responsibility for data management inside that polygon, and then the other polygon on the right is another jurisdiction. And what we've done is enabled them to work with their data inside that specific polygon, collaborate with their neighbors across this polygon to resolve any gaps or overlaps, yet contribute that data to the county or regional data set natively through the application. So we don't have to send it through FTPs back and forth. We don't have to email off a zip file. It's all done within the application, and it's all secured, and users are granted by a name user authentication perspective. And then on the right is just a screenshot of our Datamark VEP Verify, the mobile application. So again, our users can download it from the App Store. They can log in. Once their users are authenticated, they have access to the solution, and they sign in. They immediately get access to their data literally at the palm of their hand. So they can go through, again, add an address point. They can correct a feedback that one of the observers have given us. All of that is enabled on the device, leveraging those tools that we built in with our Esri partners. And lastly, before I jump off to a shameless plug, after I finish this is what our customers say about us. We're really proud of what our customers, really proud of our customers. We're also really proud of how they help us drive the product. Gene Barrera in Merced County, California, has been a big champion of us. And one of the things that he said is that he sees us as a partner and a leader in GIS innovation, and that speaks volumes, and we're really proud of that. And then coincidentally, Manatee County, Florida is a customer of ours and have been for a number of years. And I think the power of cloud computing and innovative solutions hit them when the pandemic occurred, because they still had business to do. But workflows continued on without interruption because they've leveraged the power of cloud computing. And then finally, one last shameless plug is the Datamark Orbit Conference is coming up here, March 22nd to the 24th. This is our 3rd annual Public Safety GIS Conference. We'd love to have everybody there. And if you want some information on it, go to our Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram accounts. And it's a 3-day virtual conference. We've got an action-packed agenda for that conference. I think folks will be really excited to see some of the topics we're going to discuss and some of the world-class speakers that we have. And it's all about education. I think Deb said earlier, how do you get plugged in? It's attending events. We're really proud to offer this event for the 3rd time. And then lastly, before I hit my title or my end slide for any questions, is if you're interested in attaining your GISP or your EMP, if you sign up and attend our conference, we will select a number of users where we will front the cost for either your EMP or your GISP. So we'll cover it all. All you have to do is meet the qualifications and sign up and schedule your test, and we'll cover the test from there. So I'll park things here on this last slide, and these are just some dates if you're interested in the conference that we have forthcoming. And again, March 22nd through the 24th. And happy to take any questions on anything we've done from a TDI perspective.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I think maybe only one or two comments, but
So there's one question there, Bob. You were talking about that mobile map that you had, and someone was wondering if that's kind of similar to Esri's field map function. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It is very similar with similar functionality. And in fact, we made a conscious decision not to embed field maps directly into VEP because when we worked through that integration and working through the testing, there were some limitations. But it's very similar to that. The big difference is both will solve your needs depending on what you're using, right? If you're a VEP customer with us, then VEP Verify will give you a little bit more functionality than field maps. But if you're not a VEP customer, then you won't get the functionality, and field maps is probably the more appropriate tool for you.
okay.
Excellent, thank
But
you.
certainly, we're able to. We'll provide any if you want some more information, reach out to anybody from the Datamark team, and we'll have to set some time aside.
Okay.